Hi everybody, it's Rebecca, Virginia, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do 3 farmhouse kitchen DIYs. The first DIY utilizes some wood supplies from the Dollar Tree to turn a perpetual calendar into a desk organizer perfect for jotting down grocery lists. Here's what you need to make it. The first step in this DIY is basically going to be painting everything white. I wanted a very farmhouse look to things, so I wanted them to be white with a little bit of brown distressing. So I am painting some of those tumbling tower blocks as well as 2 wood planks. I ended up taking off the cross backing of my perpetual calendar and also painting that white, but I did leave the dice blocks inside, the same color that they were, the white with the brown lettering and numbers. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far and excited to see what farmhouse DIYs I come up with, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell. Next, we're going to begin putting together our organizer, and I just took the 2 wood planks. I tried to use wood glue at first, but it just wasn't drying fast enough or holding it, so I just went back to the good old hot glue, and I kind of made this in an L shape, I guess you would say, and that is going to be the backing of our organizer. I just placed the perpetual calendar down. I didn't glue it. This is just for my own reference. And now I'm beginning to make what I'm calling a pencil holder. You could put other supplies in it as well, but I figured writing utensils will probably be the most likely thing to go in this. And all that I'm doing is hot gluing 3 of the tumbling tower blocks on top of one another to make a wall. And once I have all 4 sides, I'm going to glue those together to create my writing utensil holder. And once I have all 4 sides hot glued together, I'm then going to hot glue it down onto the base wood plank. And I want it to be in the middle because I do want to leave some room in the back where you could put either notepads, or I personally, my kitchen is right next to the front door, so usually our mail gets left on one of the kitchen counters. So I thought it'd be perfect. You could fit envelopes and mail behind the writing utensil holder and the perpetual calendar. So that's why I left a little bit of space there. Once I had the spacing figured out, I hot glued the tumbling tower blocks onto the base, and as you can see, it fits the pencil and the Sharpie perfectly. This perpetual calendar is one of the ones from the Dollar Tree that came out around Christmas time, and I'm hot gluing it next to the tumbling tower blocks. Now, the way that they had the dice and numbers in, they put the month up top and then the numbers down below. And it looks really pretty that way, but it's like not practical because every day when you pull them out, you're going to have to pull out the months as well. So I ended up putting the months down on the bottom, and then I put the numbers for the dates on top so that it was easier to change them out every day. Then I am lightly dry brushing with a dark brown paint just to add a bit more of a farmhouse feel to the overall look. I didn't want to add too many embellishments to this DIY because I know it's going to be full of notebooks and mail and pens and pencils, but I couldn't help myself and I had to add a little jute bow to the very front for an embellishment. Today's video is extra exciting because it's my first ever collaboration, and it is with Maria Kuna DIY. Maria does DIYs in all different styles. She's done rustic and farmhouse and modern and glam, and way more than even that. And I'm sure that if you head on over to her channel, you will find something that fits your style and interest. So please go on over and check out her channel and let her know that I sent you. I also wanted to include one of my personal favorite DIYs of Maria's, where she took this old pretzel container and transformed it into a beautiful boho jar. I don't want to show too much of Maria making this, so if you want to learn how to make it on your own, you'll have to head on over to her channel and watch her video. I will be sure to link her channel down below in the description box so that you all can go on over and check out her videos after this one. The second farmhouse DIY takes a Dollar Tree cutting board and transforms it into a piece of farmhouse kitchen decor. Here are all of the supplies that you'll need to create this project on your own. To begin this DIY, I am taking my Dollar Tree plastic cutting board and some jute that I got from the Crafter's Square section. And all that I'm doing is looping the jute around the handle of this cutting board. And you'll see that every couple loops that I do, I take a hot glue gun and just apply a little bit of glue down because the cutting board is plastic, the jute can kind of slip and slide around on that. So just putting down the hot glue will ensure that everything stays in place so that I can complete going around the entire top handle of this cutting board. I used the same piece of jute to go around the entire top circular part, and then once I got done going around the circle part, I just went horizontal all the way down the neck of the cutting board. This technique does end up using a lot of jute, so make sure that you have a large spool on hand, but I absolutely love the farmhouse feel that it adds to the cutting board. The main image that I'm going to be placing down onto the cutting board is from the farmhouse calendar that came out last year, although I have seen it, I think, probably about 2 more times in the Dollar Tree recently. So if you see the farmer's market calendar, make sure that you guys pick it up because it has some beautiful images inside of it. This particular image had a lot of dark navy blues as borders and backgrounds, so I wanted to incorporate a little bit of that into the distressing of the cutting board. I also ended up adding a little bit of brown because I didn't want it to be too blue. Then I took some Mod Podge to adhere the image down onto the cutting board, and again I always use this technique of taking an old gift card and using that to smooth down the image to make sure that there's no air bubbles. I also went over the cutting board and all of the paint and the paper image with some more Mod Podge. Since this is going to be in my kitchen, I wanted it to be splash proof, so I wanted to have a little bit of a sealant on it. And the finishing touch on this cutting board decor piece was to add a farmhouse looking bow, so I added that to the top of the cutting board. I gave you a little bit of a preview in the last clip, but this milk jug is going to be the final DIY for today's Farmhouse Kitchen Decor pieces. Here's what you need to make it. I'm starting off this DIY by placing a dairy cow decal onto my faux milk jar. If you don't have a cow sticker or a decal, you can just print out a silhouette image of a dairy cow on Google Images and either glue it or put some tape on the back and tape that down. I'm painting the inside of the milk jar brown where the cow is. That way when I remove the decal after covering the jar in white chalk paint, I will have a brown silhouette left where the decal sticker currently is. I'm painting the inside instead of directly underneath the decal because when I remove that cow sticker decal, it has this really strong sticky texture, and I was scared that when I peeled it off, it would also peel up any paint that was directly underneath it. So again, that's why I'm painting inside of the jar instead of outside. While the inside of the jar is drying, I took some white chalk paint and I'm now painting the entirety of the outside of the milk jar, even going over the cow decal sticker. And I went over this about 2 times with the chalk paint. As usual with any farmhouse decor DIY that I'm doing, I always like to dirty it up a little bit because I don't want it to look brand new. So I'm just going in with a dry brushing technique and a little bit of brown paint and just doing paint strokes around the top of the milk jar and then down the sides, just kind of making it look a little bit distressed. Also, fun fact that I forgot to mention, this fake milk jar bottle is from the Dollar Tree. And it's actually in the food section. It's an iced coffee, which is delicious, and the bottle is great to reuse for this DIY. I'm using a sharp tool that I have. It kind of looks like something your dentist would use on you, and I'm just using that to help peel off the cow vinyl that is underneath all that paint on the bottle. And once I got the first little bit of it up, it came up pretty easy. I just used my fingers to really peel it off, and I was very happy to report that none of the paint peeled off. I was scared that some of the white would be coming off. And you can see that when I'm pulling off that decal, the brown that we painted inside the bottle earlier is what is showing through and making the cow brown instead of clear. I do love the finish that chalk paint leaves, but this is going to be a practical item. I'm going to have it in my kitchen, maybe put in some flowers, some utensils, so I know that I'm going to be hitting this a lot, and when you have something that's covered in chalk paint on top of glass, it is going to chip unless you put a sealant over it, or at least that's what I've learned from my experience. So I did put a little bit of Mod Podge over the entire thing so that no paint would be chipping. The last small detail that I added to this milk jar DIY was to take a bit of jute and wrap it all around the top of our milk bottle. And that concludes all of our farmhouse kitchen DIYs. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating.